Yep, that's right. That's where you park. Guys, before we get into this video, I just wanted to, everything's done with the truck. So I may have to break this video into two pieces, I don't know. But I appreciate all the comments and everything that everybody leaves, but I wanted to preface it with the truck's done, so don't feel like you need to help me out on this. We've got the problem solved, but what I did want to say is thanks to a couple people, Tom's Wonderful World and to Mustie1, for helping me out with the transmission on the Ford. It was a challenge to say the least, and I was gonna just kind of leave cliffhanger in there and make it a fun video, but I think the important thing here for everybody to see as this video progresses is that you can't give up on things. There's always a solution to the problem, whatever that solution may be, and sometimes that solution is letting somebody else do it, and sometimes it's that you can do it yourself. You just have to kind of know where your line is. So anyway, I'm going to get right into the video because it's probably going to be a long one or maybe a couple long ones. So thank you to Tom and Musty and everybody else. This is what the Garage Gang is all about. I just took the pan off, and what I did was take a trash bag inside of a little plastic container there. We're just letting her all drip down. And I think that was a bunch of 10mm bolts right there. I need to get a cup for all those before I kick them and get really pissed. So we're just kind of set up underneath there, and I got the pan in here. So we got the magnet, it's down the bottom. Here's our little, yeah, we got one of those, so we know this thing hasn't been serviced before. That's the little plug that apparently they put when they install the dipstick. The dipstick hits the end of this and pushes it out, so it kind of seals everything up while they're building the thing. But these are the telltale pieces that I was looking for right here. These little metal pieces, they're not little metal pieces, they're big metal pieces, and my suspicion is these are the bits of a broken clip ring, snap ring, that's what I wanted to say. I always like to just clean these out. I don't like to use any chemicals where the transmission is concerned, simply because it makes me nervous. I don't know what the rule is, but I don't know how, solvents affect transmission fluid. But we got the magnet cleaned up, we got the pan cleaned up, I cleaned up the gasket, so this is ready to reinstall. Just time to work on the valve body. So I should actually start just a little bit with what the symptoms were. And we were just getting a shudder as it goes into overdrive, so sometime, or somewhere's right around 45, 50 miles an hour is where that shift point is, depending on your RPM. And it would kind of not want to engage, and then I'd slam on the gas, and then it would kick into overdrive. Everything would be smooth. So that tells me there's a valve or something that's just not getting completely closed until it has a lot of pressure, and then it forces its way. So hopefully we'll find the culprit here. I'm pretty sure we're going to find that broken snap ring. So we'll get up underneath there. I'm going to take that stuff out. I'm not going to show that process, but we'll have our valve body sitting right here pretty soon. Minor disappointment. I hope this thing goes in here somewhere. It looks like when I get under there, it looks like that's where it goes. There's kind of a hole that's this funny shape, but we'll have to find that out. I have a spring and a plate that goes where this thing is, but anyway, the minor disappointment, there are no fragments from that clip ring, or snap ring. It's all in good condition, so that's definitely not my problem. So I'm gonna have to take this apart and see if there's a piece of debris or something lodged down in there. You saw there was a few pieces of decent sized metal, so I'm wondering if maybe one of those worked its way into the valve body here. So yep, I'm going to open this up and clean her out. Here's our valve body with the cover off, and I'll be very honest, this is the end of my comfort level with this part of the transmission. This stuff actually makes me very, very nervous. There's a lot of little check balls in here. There's these little filter screens that are in here. This is a great example. You know, you pull this little guy out, it's a little filter, and you know, I don't know where all this shit goes if something were to happen. You know, if this got knocked off of my workbench, I would be SOL, because I have no idea how this thing works. This is witchcraft to me. I do know these little valves. You can kind of operate, so I went through and just pressed on all of them to make sure they were operating properly without hindrance or anything else. I made sure all the check balls were loose, you know, nothing stuck, anything like that. That's as far as I go. So you know, hopefully we just had a little piece of debris in there and we dislodged it, because I could not find anything in here that was holding anything up. Hopefully that's the case. We just had, you know, old transmission fluid, some little piece of debris. Hopefully it's gone and I can put this back together and it'll work. If not, guess what? The professionals are going to get to handle this one, because like I said, this really pushes the boundaries of where I'm comfortable, and it's simply because I have no reference material to put the shit back together, and I really don't have the expertise on automatic transmissions. I always, you know, people say, "Oh, Greg, you're good with cars." No, I'm good with turning nuts and bolts. That's where my expertise is. I can turn nuts and bolts. As long as it's nuts and bolts, I'm cool. When it gets into voodoo like this, nope, no thanks. I'm out. So I'm going to assemble this back together and we'll get a report on how it works. Our temperature's dropping pretty drastically here, and you know, you guys probably get the same way I do when you get involved in a project. You don't realize how bad your back hurts or your knees hurt or something, because your mind's focused on getting it done. So there's a hand that's not frozen, and there's the one, I don't know if you guys can tell, but my fingertips are white. I'm guessing it's because you know, that's kind of the first stage of the old frostbite. I've seen this before with other people, never with me, but I absolutely can't feel from about where my fingers join my hand up. So hoping we get some feeling back there so I can finish up. Just got done putting the bolts on the pan and getting ready to put the fluid back into the transmission. And I bought this little orange funnel at Walmart, and this thing is just a tad too big. So we're going to turn on the heat gun, warm up our hands, and melt this thing and kind of squeeze it down just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. There we go. There's both of them. We got a normal hand and a frozen hand. See the difference? Ah, that feels good. Just got the fluid put back in it, and we're not shifting into any gears, so obviously I've got something amiss there. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but oh Lord. Gonna get to go at it again tomorrow. I'm not sure what I got in there wrong, but I'm guessing we'll find out. It is now early on Sunday morning, and yeah, no fears, I scratched my head a little bit last night after I put 5 quarts of the transmission fluid in and was getting no response. A little bit embarrassing, I suppose, but you know, we all make mistakes, and in the interest of full disclosure, I feel like I have to tell everybody this. I put the transmission fluid, or at least 5 quarts of it, into the oil fill dipstick, and you know, after I got frustrated and didn't know what was going on, I started scratching my head, and I thought, you know, usually the dipstick for the transmission fluid says what kind of transmission fluid you need to put in, and that dipstick didn't say anything. And I thought a little bit harder, and I thought, you know, usually the funnel fits right in the transmission deal because they know you got to fill it, so it's a big tube. Why'd they make that tube so small? And then I thought again, you know, when I was underneath the truck there, the end of that transmission dipstick was white plastic, and the one I'm looking at is metal. Well, yeah, I poured 5 quarts of transmission fluid into my oil dipstick. So, yeah, late last night, you know, Walmart sells oil and transmission fluid and all that kind of stuff. So late last night when I was sitting there, after I'd scratched my head a little bit, I went out and bought some more oil, and they only had 1 quart of Mercon 5, which is what I need. I was just going to go ahead and knock it out last night at midnight, and then I decided, you know, well, basically I didn't have enough transmission fluid to do it, so I thought, well, we'll do it all in one fell swoop today. So yeah, I got about 5 extra quarts of fluid there in my crankcase, so we'll drain that out this morning. We'll put some new in and put in transmission fluid where it belongs. But you know, I was really worried about the transmission fluid screwing up my engine, and I started reading online, you know, what else it's going to do, and it sounds like there are some mechanics or some people who put transmission fluid, just like a half quart, in with their oil change on higher mileage vehicles. And the reason I read was that it has better detergent properties, better cleaning properties, because it's a stronger detergent. It's also a lighter oil, so it helps lubricate, you know, parts that sludge, I don't know, might prevent other stuff from getting to. I really don't know everything there is to know about it, but my understanding is it shouldn't really damage the engine. So so yeah, we'll get this we'll get this taken care of. Boy, I'll tell you what, I was one upset little boy last night. I was just floored, and there still could be something wrong with the way I put the transmission together, but you know, I went and looked at a ton of pictures online of the one thing that kind of made me scratch my head was, I'm gonna call it the detent valve. Is that right? The, you know, the piece that has teeth on it and moves, that I think selects your gears. It looked like there was 2 places for the thing to rest on a machined piece, and I chose the piece that made the most sense because it was sort of the same diameter on both sides of the groove. There were 2 grooves in it. One had the same diameter both sides, one had different diameters both sides, and it looked like the piece would ride better in the one that had similar diameters on both sides of the groove. So that's where I put it. That could be wrong. If that's wrong, guess what? We got to drain the whole thing down again, and yeah, that's not going to be fun. But keep your fingers crossed for me here this morning, and hopefully we'll get her back going. We're in the Ford. We're moving forward, so that's positive. I think I'm still a little bit low on transmission fluid. Not coming up on the dipstick, but we're moving now, so we're getting pressure. Reverse, you know, you kind of had to rev up the motor there a little bit to get it into reverse. So just taking a quick drive around the neighborhood to see if I can take this sucker up to the parts store there to get some more Mercon 5, and you know, hopefully we'll top it off so it won't slip a little bit, you know, going into gears and stuff. So yeah, whew, I don't know, you know, still remains to be seen. Whoops, yep, see there, we're slipping a little bit. I better take the other car. So yeah, we're gonna put it away, we're gonna get some more fluid, and then you know, hopefully put this sucker to bed. I've added plenty of oil, and I'm getting good first, second, reverse, and when it goes into third, the transmission just isn't engaging. So yeah, I don't know, I'm afraid, you know, on the dipstick it's showing me that it's full. I'm afraid I got something in there that's either not tight or something's wrong. Like I say, there was a little screen and a spring and a plate that had to go above the valve body, and you know, those things were, I don't know, you know, not easy to put in and get in the right place. I'm wondering if I got those wrong or didn't get something torqued down right or something. So I'm gonna probably have to tear into it. Yeah, there you go. Yep, you can hear it. I have to tear into it, tear it apart, try and put it back together again. So keep your fingers crossed for me, guys. We're back up. Just looked online and excuse me. It appears that I've got a, I think it's the accumulator spring. It has a plate underneath of it, and I got that in upside down. So guess what? Yeah, we're gonna be all apart again. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's leaking, so that's a good thing. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna take this all apart and hopefully flip that plate upside down. Everything will work right. Keep your fingers crossed for me, guys. Today it's 32 degrees, just so you know. Oh yeah, the Chewy Nougat Center. Letting it all piss out here. I got one bolt holding this in, and hopefully we'll have this out. We'll get to flip that plate around and be done. Oh my god, I hate transmission work. We're going to do just a tick of a recap here. Sorry, this is more for me than it is for you guys. Got everything taken apart, put back together, and now I'm looking at the fluid here. Yeah, here's my diagram. I do listen when I watch people's videos, so I made my little diagram just like Musty did with the holes in it for the bolts. Yep, that worked actually exceptionally well. I'm glad I watched that. And then we have our trash bag here full of transmission fluid. So, oh god dang, it's cold. I think we're sitting just below freezing, and I've been grabbing on metal wrenches all day. Got some coffee filters, and I commandeered this pitcher from the kitchen. I called my wife to make sure it wasn't just totally going to piss her off. But what I'm going to do is pour the transmission fluid out of that container outside in the trash bag into here, and then as I put it through the funnel, it's going to go through these coffee filters just to make sure I don't have any funny little particles in there. So yeah, we're going to do that, fill the old transmission back up, and keep your fingers crossed. Oh, I wanted to show everybody what the problem was. I do like to show that. So I looked online and I found a little diagram, and let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, the accumulator, there it is. So there's a little, I don't know what you want to call it, a little plastic piece that's this deal here. It looks like a top hat. There's a spring that goes up in the middle of it, and then there's this little metal plate with a nipple on it at the bottom, and I thought that nipple should go up, point up into the spring, and that's what sort of centered the spring. Well, I was wrong. That nipple goes down, and this controls the second to third shift. So yeah, install the 2 to 3 accumulator assembly. So if you're missing the second to third shift, which is what I was missing, it's in that assembly right there. So either a piece can be broken or whatever, but in my case, this little metal piece with the tines on it, the little tongs, I had the tongs going up, and my guess is that didn't give the spring enough load. So anyway, took her all back apart, flip that one little piece upside down, and keep your fingers crossed. Whew, my god. What a deal. I do not like transmission work. Alright guys, getting ready to go for another test drive here. I'll bring you guys along and we'll see what happens. Keep your fingers crossed. I feel good about this now that we have all of our pieces and parts right. Let's see, I got my door ajar. There we go. There's the shift into second. I think we just shifted into third. I will know shortly. Hang on, we're going to go on another little stretch. Ooh, my nose is running. Oh yeah, good stuff. We just went through the second to third shift, so it felt like it actually worked. The engine didn't just race, so we're going to go again. Yeah, now we're up into the zone where it's going to be chattery. So we're going to head to the highway. Hopefully, hopefully we're back on straight. Hopefully I fixed the, hopefully the overdrive, which is why we started this whole damn thing. Hopefully the overdrive is working again. We'll see. I talked to Tom's Wonderful World. Thank you for talking me off the cliff, Tom. Last night was pretty rough. I was really mad at myself, and this morning wasn't a whole lot better. I actually sent a message to Mustie1 to see if I could get his help, but I think I got it sorted. So anyway, we'll see. It sounds like sometimes you can take care of that overdrive chatter just by changing the fluid. So it just kind of gets all the gunk out of there. We're going to take her up on the highway and see. I think just because what I saw earlier, I think we're good. I let her set at about 45 there and it didn't chatter. Heading into overdrive. So I'm just slowly rolling into overdrive now. Everything's good. So I think we might have taken care of that problem. The only reason I show these silly mistakes that I make is because I think people can learn from them. And, wherever there's a problem, there's always a solution. You just got to stick with it. So anyway, don't let your meat loaf, guys. Woo! Thanks for joining me on this one.